Welcome to your Tech News Today, the Monday through Friday podcast about keeping you informed and empowered by giving you the latest tech stories that impact your daily life. We'll get started in a moment. First, we'd like to recognize our partners who help make these podcasts possible. It's Thursday, January 3rd. I'm Mike James. Coming up in a bit, we'll tell you just how much Facebook is worth to some people. Plus, a cool hand motion sensor is one step closer to becoming a reality, and hackers have sunk to another all-time low. All that today on Tech News Today. And we start with an interesting look on the value of Facebook. So how much would you say the social media site is worth to you? Even after a bunch of scandals and blunders by Facebook the past couple of years, members are still addicted to it. And there was even an outcry last year for people to delete their accounts, but not many are actually following through. In fact, most people say it would take an insane amount of money for them to walk away from Facebook. At least that's what the Public Library of Science is saying. It combined a couple of economic studies that look at what people are willing to pay for things. In this case, they asked how much a person would need to be paid to go without Facebook for a year. And the answers will surprise you. On average, people said it would take over $1,000 to deactivate their Facebook account. That seems pretty steep for a site that's been routinely caught breaching its members' privacy, among other things. Remember, though, with Facebook, you are the product. They are selling your information, where you go, what you're looking at, and basically your attention span as well. As they say, enter at your own risk or use at your own risk. Google's advanced technology and projects team just got a huge boost from the FCC. Project Soli, which the team has been working on for a few years, now integrates sensors that use radar for motion tracking of the human hand. Think of it as a way to virtually control things with just hand motions.
Imagine a button between your thumb and your index finger, and the button's not there, but pressing this is a very clear action. And there's a natural physical haptic feedback that occurs as you perform that action. The hand can both embody that virtual tool, and it can also be, acting on that virtual tool at the same time. So if we can recognize that action, we have an interesting direction for interacting with technology.
The problem, it needs more power than what is currently allowed. Until now, the FCC just granted Google a waiver to operate Soli sensors at higher power levels. Plus, they're now allowed to be used aboard aircraft, which is also new. This is great news, especially for people with speech and mobility impairments. Google said these sensors allow you to press an invisible button between the thumb and index finger for a virtual dial that turns just by rubbing your thumb against the index finger. This technology can be implemented in wearables, phones, computers, and even in vehicles. After the waiver given by the FCC, it won't be long before we start seeing this technology in the real world. Just ahead, a group of hackers have gone to an all-time low. And right now, let me tell you about our partners at SimpliSafe, who help make this podcast possible. SimpliSafe is a fantastic security system. With SimpliSafe, there's never any hidden fees or long-term contracts, and because they want everybody to feel safe in their homes, SimpliSafe prices are always honest and fair. Round-the-clock professional monitoring will bring the police anytime there's even the slightest hint of a problem. And there are 6 monitoring centers across the country, which means nothing, not even earthquakes, floods, or tornadoes, will interrupt your protection. SimpliSafe is built for the unexpected, just loaded with safeguards. It keeps working even during local power and Wi-Fi outages. Even if a burglar smashes your keypad, the police will be on their way. Plus, the system is so easy to use. It's incredibly intuitive, and it takes only minutes to set up in your home. Just open the box, plug it in, no drilling, no wires. Order your SimpliSafe system right now at simplysafekim.com. That's simplysafekim.com. We already know there's some seriously bad people in the world who will do anything to make a buck. This just goes a little bit too far. A hacking group known as the Dark Overlord is trying to use 9/11 as a way to cash in. They announced this week that it breached a law firm that's handling some of the cases related to the September 11th attacks. They're threatening to release a huge cache of stolen information related to those cases unless their ransom demands are met. Talk about the lowest of low. The hackers claim to have information from several insurers and legal firms. Earlier this week, they tweeted, "We'll be providing many answers about 911 conspiracies through our secret document leak." One insurance agency later confirmed to the online magazine Motherboard that hackers had breached one of the law firms that advises the company. So we do know that the information related to the case dealing with 911 was breached. At this point, we don't know if the hackers have any real information of value. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out, and we'll, of course, let you know. Now, obviously, you're a fan of podcasts. You're listening to one right now, and we thank you for that. We know there are tons of options out there, but there's one that is a little surprising. One of the more popular podcasts on the charts is called Ear Hustle, and it was started by an inmate. His name is Walter Woods, and he's at San Quentin State Prison. It was started a couple of years ago. It documents everyday life inside the prison. The podcast led to Woods' early release. California Governor Jerry Brown commuted his sentence, citing Woods' leadership in helping other inmates and his work at Ear Hustle. Now, since leaving prison, Woods has been hired as a full-time producer for the podcast. There are around 30 episodes, and get this, they've been downloaded about 20 million times by fans all across the globe. And many people describe it as an eye-opening and humanizing podcast. In the next season, which will be released this summer, Woods will describe his re-entry into society, along with interviews with other inmates who have served long sentences. Okay, so how do you keep up with pop culture? Famous people, places, objects, and phrases all help make up the landscape of today. And every year, there are new trends sweeping the nation, and 2018 was no different. If you don't want to be left behind, Google is here to help. Now you can play Google's Game of the Year, which is a series of questions related to what people searched for last year. You'll be asked up to 20 questions along with some bonus rounds, but be careful, you only have 3 lives. So once you get 3 questions wrong, you're out. It's kind of fun to play. If you want to give it a try, just go to Komando.com and read our article titled Test Your Knowledge of 2018 with Google's Games of the Year. You'll learn all about it, and of course we've got a link that will take you right to the quiz. Coming up next, you won't believe how the Chinese government tracks students. But right now, a quick thank you to our friends who help make this podcast possible. Well, there appears to be a scary flaw still present with some Twitter accounts. You might remember us telling you a couple of weeks ago about some retailer and celebrity accounts that were posting scam messages. Hackers were able to take over those accounts through a flaw in Twitter's system and post messages with fraudulent links. Now, of course, when you're following a celebrity on social media, you're not going to think that they're posting scams, which makes this all the more deceitful. Well, officials at Twitter claim that this problem has been fixed, but of course it's not. Security researchers tested this earlier this week and were still able to take over certain accounts. So be careful with links posted on Twitter, even if it's coming from an account you think you can trust. It might not be safe. As they say, it's always better to be safe than sorry. All right, school kids in communist China are now being tracked by its government at all times. This is creepy. Students are being given school uniforms that have chips built in. The chips then track the students' locations to keep an eye on where they go. Not only that, but Chinese schools are implementing facial recognition technology at entrances to make sure kids are wearing the uniform that was assigned to them. If a student ditches class, an alarm does go off. Also, an alarm goes off if a kid is wearing somebody else's uniform. The uniforms are already in use in 10 schools and are supposed to be in more soon. This is about as close to Big Brother as you can get. Luckily, it's there and not here. By the way, once you're done listening to our podcast, do us a favor and give us a good rating on wherever you're listening to. We appreciate that. It helps more people find us. Finally, for today's Commando Kicker, an international group of knitters has set a new Guinness Book of World Records by assembling a blanket measuring just under 21,500 feet. It's almost a half an acre wide. Organizer Valerie Larkin created a Facebook group to get donations of segments to be assembled in Ireland. They claim it came from 32 countries, including the U.S., and the final blanket was assembled at a building in Ireland, which ended up being too small for the blanket. It had to be rolled up on one end while workers put together the other end, and after measuring for the record, it was cut into smaller segments and donated to the Red Cross. For more fun and interesting facts, go to Komando.com and search for the Komando Kicker. And that's your tech news for today. If you want to win great prizes like the Komando 2-in-1 tablet and laptop, or even a Komando Bluetooth speaker, simply become a Komando ambassador. If you love getting the Komando free email newsletters, you can share it with your friends and family who will benefit from valuable tech and the digital life hacks. Invite them to get the free email alerts. And more people you invite, the more they sign up and the more prizes you win. Just go to Komando.com/ambassador to learn more.